Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. So in this video, we're going to be continuing on from last time and backtesting GBPUSD, going from 2021 all the way up until the present date in July 2024. If you guys are new here and you didn't see last week's video, I'm going to be walking you through the full trading plan and system first of all, including risk management as well. But if you already saw last week's video, I'll put a timestamp up somewhere here, and then you can just fast forward to the actual backtesting itself. But let's waste no more time and let's get straight into the backtesting. Hi guys, so welcome to the video. So for anybody new here, we're going to be walking through the trading plan and the system that I'm going to be using first of all. But if you did see last week's video, then I'll put a timestamp up just here so that you can fast forward to the backtesting and we'll get straight into that. But for anybody new, let's just do a quick walkthrough of this trading system. But before I do that, I just want to quickly show you proof that this does actually work in the live market. So as you can see, this is my FX book track record. You can see it says my name on it. It's an IC Markets live account. It says real. And last year we did 34% using the same system on a decent sized account as well. So now that that's out of the way, let's walk through what the trading system actually is. So the first step that I always do is just to identify where price is heading. So identify the overall market structure and direction on the 4 hour and the daily, and then breaking it down to the 1 hour, and then going lower again, just to identify where the substructure and any sort of internal structure levels are to refine, you know, like the overall trend. Then we go about identifying a point of interest. I have two types of these. The first is an imbalance level of supply or demand, and we need to see some liquidity being taken out into that area, and it needs to also be following the order flow. So what this basically means is that if price is bullish, I am only looking for buys within the current range between the low and the high, and I'm not looking, you know, back left for an area of supply to sell from. I'm only looking to buy in line with that trend. The second type is when we simply have an area of higher time frame liquidity in line with the trend. So once again, if price is bullish, I'm looking for a bias to be swept for then some buy positions to come in, and we're looking for a confirmation afterwards. Same with type 1 point of interest as well. We're always waiting for price to come into that level and then see a confirmation afterwards. And for me, a confirmation is very simple. We need to see the lower time frame break structure and then realign with that higher time frame direction. So if we are looking for buys, we need to see price come into our area of interest. We then need to see it break structure and turn back bullish on the lower time frames, because during this retracement that we have here, price is obviously bearish lower time frame. So when price comes into our area of interest, in this case, this area of liquidity, we need to see the lower time frames flip from bearish to bullish, and then we look for a pullback into an area of demand to buy up to some previous areas. And that is simply it. As for targets, the only restriction I have is that I must be a minimum of a 1 to 3. Usually I don't go too much above that either. I just target a 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. And I also have a more discretionary approach, which is to target previous areas of liquidity. Obviously that's a bit more subjective. So if you are a beginner, I would recommend doing a more mechanical TP rule. So a 1 to 3 works very well. And you only need around, you know, a 35% win rate to make that profitable. 1% risk always. 1 loss maximum per day, but I rarely get 2 trades in a day anyway. Normally it's more like 3 to 5 in a month. And then for this actual back testing, as with last time, we're going to be testing a break-even system. So this is something I'm testing at the moment, and what I'm basically doing is I'm using the same take profit system as normal, so the discretionary TP system where we target previous liquidity, but I make the trade a break even once a 1 to 2 risk to reward is hit, and it must be a minimum of a 1 to 3, like I already mentioned. So throughout this backtesting session, we're going to be testing mainly this take profit rule. but this will also be useful for you guys just to see how I execute trades, how I see the market. And I'm just going to be also recording the extra profit that I would have secured if I didn't make the trade break even. So let's say the trade goes to a 1 to 2, we make it break even, but then the trade comes back and it would have hit our stop loss, then I would record a -1 in here, because if I had not made the trade break even, it would have been a loss. So if that makes sense. Hopefully this becomes a little bit more clear once we get into the test in itself, which we're going to do now. So continuing on from last time, I don't remember where we got up to, but we were going from August 2021 until the 14th of August 2023. And the reason I'm doing this is because ages ago I did this backtesting session, just backtesting GBPUSD from 2021 to 2023, and those were the date ranges that I used previously. So I just want to be able to compare it to that when it comes to analyzing the results. So yeah, let's jump straight in. We got up to October 2021, so we've still got around 2 years of data worth to collect. So yeah, let's see where we left off. Starting off on the daily time frame, just to gauge where price currently is. Okay, so very clearly at the moment we can see that price is overall bearish. Price swept this high. We then broke below this main daily structure, which confirmed the shift from this bullish trend into this bearish trend. And then we also had another break of structure just here. So the current daily range that we're looking at is between the high and the low. Also, significantly, price is now within this daily area of supply that we can see price reacting from. It also took out this daily liquidity. So it looks very much likely that price could continue to sell from this level. So in addition to that, we can see that the 4 hour and the 1 hour have once again gone from this bullish structure into this bearish structure. So if we just mark that on, we can see that price has given a sweep of this high. It then took out this low, forming a lower low. So what we're looking for now is a pullback to an area where we can then look to sell from. So the zones that I would look at the moment, we have like this sort of region in here, which is an area of supply that broke the low. We also have, I've just noticed, this area of supply where we can see price reach towards. It didn't quite get there, so this would count as an inducement. So yeah, I would look for price to retrace into one of those two levels. However, what I have also just seen as well is that we had this area 4 hour liquidity. Price has now swept that low, and it has also come into this 4 hour area of demand, as we can see. So what I like to do in this sort of situation is sort of, I guess you could say it's a form of hedging. So if price is going to reverse, then we would at least expect a pullback up into one of these regions anyway. But if price continues bullish, then it would very likely do so within this area. So I think we can look to capitalize on both sides of the market here and potentially look for some buys if price presents any, now that this low has been swept. So let's have a look what the lower time frame does. So right now I would be looking for price to come lower, then break structure, then pull back. Since the next sort of area of structure that I would be looking for it to break at the moment would be this high, and then price is already in the sell POI, so I would sort of discount that as an area to buy from. So let's see if it can re-break the low. Okay, so I would now invalidate the buys and just look at the sells. To be honest, I'm not really liking this as a point of interest. I'd much rather see price come higher and take out some more previous liquidity. Still hasn't broken any structure though, so the buys would not be valid for me. So what we can see here is that price, it didn't really come into an area. It has formed a lot of these equal highs up here. So this, I would not count this as a change of character. I would see that more as like a sweep of the low for maybe price to reverse bullish. Yeah, so you can see there we had that sort of lower time frame breaker structure. I'd prefer to wait for the sells though. So let's have a look. If it continues lower from here, then we'll just look for a pullback into a new area. But yeah, there we go. Price is now in that more high probability area. It took out this high, and now we can look to see if the lower time frames flip bearish. Okay, so I don't normally go lower than the 5 minute, but just to make it a little bit more clear, we can see that price created this higher low, higher high, then it has now actually broken past that, as we can see. And now I would simply wait for a pullback into this area of supply, as we can see here, and have my stops just above that high. As for potential targets, we could probably just target all the way down here. If you wanted to be, as I said, if you wanted to use the mechanical take profit rule, you could just go for a 1 to 3. But because we are using this break-even system anyway, I'm going to target down at the low. I'm also not going to wait for a pullback. I'm just going to set the limit here. Like that. And the reason is, price doesn't have to pull back into this area. It could just sell from here. And in situations like this, the trade is already a 1 to 4. So I'd rather catch a 1 to 4 rather than wait for a pullback, which may never occur, and catch an extra 1%. So I'll just set the limit there. And once the trade hits a 1 to 2, which is this point, we'll make it break even. Okay, so there we go. We can now make it break even and let the rest of the trade run. As we can see as well, price never pulled back into that zone. So entering on the breakout in this case was, a good choice because we didn't miss out on the trade. So let's see what price wants to do now. You wouldn't expect it to reverse from here. It's just in this random area. So I think it has a high likelihood of continuing lower. And there we go. So first trade, very nice. And now price has also broken the low again, continuing on with that downtrend. So there we go. Also just going to mark on this low. The reason is this is an area of liquidity leading into this imbalance. And when you have scenarios like that, you very often will see price react from it. So we could look to potentially get a counter trend buy if price sweeps that level, which it looks like it probably will. But yeah, overall forecast is just to keep selling price towards this previous low, since it did come into that daily premium in this area of supply, and daily is overall bearish as well. Next sell level for me would be if price can come up and sweep this level of liquidity currently. I wouldn't look to sell from this area of supply just because I don't like this wick that we had above it, and there's no liquidity resting below it either. So let's see if we can get the buys up to it if that level, if this line goes. Let's see which area is going to go first. Okay, so this area of liquidity has gone first. Sorry about that, somebody just rang. Okay, so as I was saying, this area of liquidity has gone first, and now we also have these sort of equal lows down here. You know, the probability of this getting taken out before price takes this high is very likely. So yeah, I'll be looking for sells now that this area of liquidity is taken out. You could also see price come back into this area of supply. Just here. Yeah, I would refine it to this area as well. This is the last bit of liquidity. So yeah, let's see what price does. There we go. So it came into the supply. The final bit of liquidity within this overall range has been taken out. Now let's look at the 5 minutes to see if we can get an entry. There we go. So price has now flipped bearish. Just like that. Area of entry. To be honest, I'd probably just enter here as we did last time, because this is going to give a decent risk to reward anyway. So enter in here, targeting these equal lows down here. See what I mean? This gives a 1 to 5 anyway, so there's no point waiting for a retracement into this area of supply, because price may never do that, and I'd rather just capitalize on this move instead. So if we enter the trade here, the break-even point is going to be here. So if I see that price pulled back but it never came into the supply, if I had missed that initial entry, I would probably now enter on this area, but since we're already in the trade, I'm not going to re-enter. Play this on the 15 as well, so it's a bit quicker. Oh, actually, so you can see that this would have been a more clear entry. So we had a 15-minute breaker structure, and then you have this area 15-minute supply. So if we missed that initial 5-minute entry, this would have been my second entry, and we would have targeted this low again, which also gave a much higher risk to reward. There we go. So 1 to 2 was hit. So we make this break even now and hold to the low. And there we go. Second trade hit, take profit as well. Just going to get rid of this as well. Nice. So now we can see that price has once again broken this low with momentum. Originally I said I was looking to see if price would give some buys after sweeping this low, but given all of this momentum, I would now just invalidate that and continue to look for the sells instead, since the sells are in line with that overall higher time frame bias. And the next sort of area we would target would be so yeah, almost certainly price is going to come towards these lows. I'm just going to mark that on with a line. You know, from where price is now and between this low, there's nothing here that would likely cause price to reverse and continue bullish. All of these areas are efficient. We have multiple lows down here, so you know, price is almost definitely going to gravitate towards those. Also, just given this momentum, you can see how bearish price is. So let's see if another area forms where we can look to sell from. Not seeing anything at the moment. Still nothing. So maybe if we see price come up and take this high into the imbalance above, that would be a valid setup. Has also just swept this area, so you could see sells straight from here. It's not really, that wouldn't be a valid entry for me though, so let's just see if price comes higher. There you go. So if this high here goes, I would consider selling. We also have this high just above as well, which is the one which leads into the imbalance. So both of these would be valid sell levels. Let's see if price can get there. Okay, cool. So the first one has been taken out. Price broke structure. And we have this very clear area of supply on the 15-minute. So I'm going to enter here, have a bit of a bigger stop loss, 14 pips, just above the liquidity in case price wants to come back and take that out. And I'm going to target this wick down here rather than going for the complete swing low. Okay, so doesn't look like price is pulling back to that area. But what we have is this area. So what I didn't actually mention is if we go back to the trading plan, I have a second entry type, which is this one right here. So price break structure again after the initial change of character, clear area of supply, and there's liquidity below it. So in this case, we had the initial change of character, price broke structure again, we have an area of supply with liquidity below it. So I'm going to set a limit on this area, stops just above, and we will target this low right here. So ideally we would want to see price pull back before this low gets swept as well. Like that, there we go. So I want to see, like I said, I wanted to see price come into this area before this low was swept. And the reason is, once this low gets swept, you know, there's a higher probability that price reverses and goes and flips bullish. But because it hasn't done that yet, you know, we could see it come lower. And the break-even point for this trade is at a 1 to 2 just here. There we go. So we can make that a break-even. And we can target this low. You know what? I might actually just target these lows and see how price reacts once that low goes. If it closes straight through the low, I'll hold. If it reacts at this low, I'll close it. Okay, so the low hasn't gone yet. Yeah, so close straight through. I'm just going to hold. It's break even anyway. There we go. Very nice. Price absolutely melted. I guess this was some sort of news event. Cool. So next trade. Perfect setup as well. Notice how price nearly always does this. It just takes the liquidity into the imbalance and then you get the sell move because all of the liquidity has been taken out within the current range. So we've had now another break of structure. Currently, the next sell level would be this area of supply, if price can come up into it. Did also take out those lows that we mentioned. But yeah, you know, all of this momentum, you wouldn't want to buy in this zone, and the next area to sell to would be the main low just here. So if we see if price can sell to that level, probably won't pull back into that level now either, so we can look for some other sell POIs. Maybe once that wick goes there. Or not. So let's have a look here. This would also be another valid zone, so this area, because this was the last bit of liquidity before the imbalance above. So if price can break some structure here, I would consider selling. If not, we can look for our sells in this area of supply just above. Let's play this on the 15-minute. So the structure I'd need to see it break would be this low right here. Okay, so looks like prices head into the supply. Let's go back to the daily as well, actually. It may also sell from here. So this was like the bottom of the daily area of supply. So yeah, let's just keep that in mind. There we go. So we've had that 15-minute break of structure. We can see that we have this area of imbalance just here. So I'm going to set a limit on this. Stops just above that area of supply. And I'm going to target this low down here. Might have a bigger stop loss actually at the high. Could react from here as well. You can see price building all of these highs below our level, so I'm just gonna go with the original zone. Or maybe not, so price may not want to pull back, which is fine. We've now seen another break of structure, like so. Next sell level. Yeah, so there wasn't really anything valid there for me. Analysis was good, but price never gave a valid confirmation for me. So we've now had a break of this low. Next sell level at the moment would be this area of supply. Price has also taken out the daily low. If you were looking for a counter trend trade, you could also look to buy from this region since it swept the daily low, which is this line. Broke 15-minute structure, retested the demand, and we have this liquidity level above. Personally, I would just rather wait for the buys, to be honest. Actually, you know what? We've got all of this liquidity above. if price can retest into this demand, I'll be more than happy to buy. I have stops just slightly below, and I'm going to target this liquidity. So this area to the left. Okay, there we go. So now we're tagged in. Ordinarily, I would obviously have entered here, but I played price a little bit too quickly. The break-even point for this trade is going to be this high. There we go. So now we can make it break even, which is a very reassuring thing to be able to do with these counter trend trades. Almost tagged us out. Let's see if it can keep going. And there we go. So very nice. Very simple counter trend trade. The daily low was taken out to the left. Okay, so now if we move on to the next trade. So as I said, we are still bearish, and I'm anticipating price to come towards this area of supply. I'm not looking for any more buys at the moment since price did take out this main high. So, there is a certain probability that you could just see sells from here. Okay, so still looking to sell from this level. If I was interested in buys up, it would be from here since price has just taken out all of these lows, but I'd just rather wait for the sells. There you go. So price is in our sell area. And as I said, the buys did happen there once all of those lows got swept. There wasn't a valid entry anyway because price swept this high before pulling back into the demand. So now price is in this area. Let's have a look if it presents a valid entry. Currently, we would want to see this low taken out. There we go. So that low has been taken out. Not seeing any valid entries at the moment though. Maybe if this high gets swept. Or you could also possibly see price react in this area after this liquidity is swept. So yeah, let's monitor what price does here. Okay, so we had a break of the structure, retest of that area. To be honest, I'm not really liking this. We have all of these highs up here, so I'm just gonna let this play out. So this looks nice actually. We had a sweep of that area of supply. Price broke some 5-minute structure. And now we've had a break of that low. Let's see if we can get a retest into the supply. Something like this. And target for this trade would probably be, if we go back to the 1 hour, I'm going to target this 1H demand that we have in here. Let's see if price pulls back for us. Okay, so direction was right. Price never pulled back though. So analysis was good, no entries. We've now had another break of structure. And I'm just going to mark on the low as well. So the area we are looking for price to come into is this one. since that's the next low. See if any entries present. Nothing yet there. This was not a valid POI, it's just this random area. Okay, price did break structure again though. So from here we could see it maybe come into this region or come up higher and take out some of this liquidity. It doesn't look like it's pulling back. Yeah, so there we go. The low was taken, no pullback into our zones. That's a bit annoying, but luckily we got the counter trend trade up to the zone anyway. So we secured a nice 4% on that. Price has now broken this low again. So I'm scrolling back out to the daily. What do we have? Gonna get rid of some of this as well, just to clear it up a little bit. So very clearly the daily time frame is still overall bearish. Price is approaching some areas of liquidity though that we could see it react from. We have this low, and then next we have this low. So it'll be interesting to see if price reacts in those areas. For now though, the next sell POI would be this sort of region, which is the area of supply. We have some liquidity resting below it as well. Okay, so we've now had another hourly breaker structure. We have this sort of hourly supply as well. Could see price react within this. Let's have a look. See if we get a pullback, and we'll target a 1 to 3. There we go. So the break-even point is going to be this area. There we go. So we can make it break even now and target a 1 to 3. Cool. There. Very nice. So I'm just going to recap that trade because I didn't really explain it. Price came into this area, which was the hourly supply. It took this last bit of liquidity. On the 5 minute, we saw price sweep the high, break structure, and then retest into this area of supply, and we targeted the low. Very simple trade. Price is now also approaching that daily liquidity level, so just going to be mindful of that. I'll mark on this as well. This was the last breaker structure. Let's see, price could definitely reverse from here. So yeah, on the 15 minute, you can see that it broke the structure, retested the demand, and now it has started to flip bullish. So you could see it reverse here. We do also still have like this sort of area of supply though. So yeah, just consolidating at the moment. Cool, so there we go. What we can see that price has done here. We had this sort of push down, it went up, liquidated those highs. Now it has broken structure again. So now, since price has clearly closed below the liquidity, we're looking for more sells down to the next liquidity level, which is this line. And the next sell level would be this region here, which is this supply, which caused the breaker structure. There we go. Let's have a look what price does within this region. So we want to see this low get broken. That doesn't count. We need to see a closure below. So I'd look for now price to re-grab the highs first of all. There we go. So now this becomes the low that we want to see broken. Or that. So this would count. We had higher high, price then broke structure. Let's see if it can retest into this region. Target will be this low. Okay, that region is still valid. I'm gonna keep it there. But now we can see that price also broke 15-minute structure. Okay, there we go. Let's see how it reacts on the lower time frame. Very nice. So we can see it broke, well, it swept this high, broke structure on the 5-minute. So if we had missed that initial 15-minute entry, we could enter this. That's what I would enter. Let's see if price comes into that region. The reason that I'm not actually entering this, by the way, is because we're already in the original trade to the left. Yeah, it doesn't look like price is pulling back to that area anyway. Oh yeah, and I almost forgot, the break-even point is here, so we can make it break even now. Keep targeting this low. And very nice, so price has broken the 15-minute low. We could now look for a potential second entry. To be honest though, I don't really see any valid areas at the moment. Let's see. So we've kind of got this whole region, which is that area of supply which swept all of these highs to the left. So I'm going to refine it slightly. So this would be the area I'd look at for a re-entry. Let's see what happens here. Not seeing anything at the moment. You did get a breaker structure here, but I wouldn't enter because price reacted from demand. Looking for it to re-grab that high. There we go. So we've had a sweep of this. Price is still within that area of supply. It sort of swept the top of this area as well. So this would be like the optimal level to sell from. 5-minute structure got broken. I am going to just enter here, stop slightly above that high. And for targets, we're going to go for this low, like this. So this needs to be market execution. Break-even point is this region. There we go. So we can make it break even now. If we just go back on the 5-minute as well. So in this case, you can see that we entered market execution, but price did in fact pull back into the area of supply, which broke the structure. But as I said, I would rather, capitalize on the 6.6% rather than waiting for a pullback, which may never actually occur. Let's see if it can keep falling. Almost. There we go. So the second trade hit take profit. And there we go. The first trade hit take profit as well. So get rid of all of this now. Be mindful as well that that daily liquidity level has now also been taken out. At the moment, price is technically still bearish since it's, created a lower low. But if you have a look at this wick, that shows very strong buy-in after that daily liquidity was swept. So this daily liquidity, you also have this one, which could potentially go before the buys come in. What I'm also not liking about more sells at the moment is look at all of this, all of these people buying within this sort of falling trend line that we have. I think it's a likely possibility that that gets taken out. So I'll keep playing price to see what happens here. So we ideally want to see some highs swept first if we're looking to sell. Potentially this one. There we go. The next high that I would want to see swept would be this one, because that leads into this supply. But for now, we have these equal lows. We have this low as well. We could see some sells from here. So I'm just going to keep that in mind. I don't like how we have all these highs above though. So just going to play price a bit more. Oh, there we go. Good thing we did not sell. Price has also now taken out this area, which was the next sell level. So let's see what happens here. It could also go for the top of this supply. That would also be a valid sell. There we go. So this is looking like a perfect setup. Price swept that high to the left. It also swept the top of the supply. Broke structure just here. So now very simply we wait for a pullback into the supply. And stops just above the high. And we will target this low just here, leading into this imbalance. Will it get tagged in? Doesn't look very promising. Yeah, so I'm going to cancel this now. Price just missed us. Very annoying. But that happens sometimes, which is fine. Okay, cool. This video is already getting quite long, so I'm going to end it here. And if you guys want me to do a part 3, comment below. Or if you want to see a different type of video, also comment that below as well. Thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, make sure to like and subscribe for more content like this. And I will see you in next Friday's video.